Hello everyone. Today my name is Romeo. How are you all doing? It's still Elsie Rosie down here, but I wanted to come out to you officially as genderqueer. So my gender is actually do your own research, find out. But welcome to the O Ship Show. On today's episode, we are diving straight into the next chapter of the comic. Hope you all enjoy.
Previously, with the Lost Golden Boys. Golden's paws slid down Spring's chest. He let out a sharp squeak. Well, his tail had begun to wag back and forth. Spring was looking into Golden's eyes. With the door to his cage now open and Golden here by his side, Spring knew that this was it. But, before you tell me, I need to do something. I've wanted to do it all those years ago, but I lost my chance. His eyes darted away for just a moment before focusing back on Golden. Golden's ears perked up. Huh? What did Spring need? Cupcake was ready to smack Spring across the head. He was so close to telling him. I won't miss my chance again. Spring brushed his paw against Golden's cheek and then guided him in. Golden's eyes darted from Spring's lips back up to his eyes. This is where the dream ends, right? He finds Spring after all this time and now he wants to... No, this has to be a dream. Spring? His eyes widened even further as Spring closed the gap between them, allowing their lips to meet for their first kiss. Golden felt his body shudder with a sudden burst of warmth that shot through his whole body, his eyes fluttering shut. Then he let out a loud squeak as he felt Spring's hand drift down further. Golden's cheeks bursted out in bright colors of red. Cupcake let out one of those rare noises that he could, a loud "oh!" Then, as soon as their kiss had started, it had ended. Spring broke their kiss, which left Golden feeling very flustered and very confused. Did that really just happen? Or am I dreaming? Golden could see Spring's cheeks change from their normal yellow hue to a burning red. Spring let out a sheepish chuckle. He nuzzled his nose into Golden's cheek, who was only getting more and more confused by the second. You were saying? Spring asked. He leaned back slightly, that smug grin on his face. He was on cloud 9 from that little peck, and Golden's world hadn't even turned back to normal yet. Well, what part of his life is normal anyway? Both were so focused on each other that they didn't notice the trail of smoke that had begun to swirl around them. Tendrils of royal purples and jet blacks had begun to slither across the walls, the floors, and the ceilings. The gray smoke was starting to close in, but the two were so focused on their first kiss that they didn't even notice. Cupcake was no help at all, since he was still so focused on making them tell each other how they felt. Then the smoke sealed them in. Spring's ears flattened down, his head fell down to his chest. He shoved Golden off his lap and pushed himself back. Cupcake rolled over to Spring's side and bumping into him to check on him. Gasping out in pain, Spring began to claw at his face, his fur standing up on end, shaking from ear to foot. Golden winced as he fell to the ground, his head whipping around as he saw the smoke. No, wait! But at hearing Spring's cries, he turned back to him. Spring, what's wrong? Air began to thrash in through the open door, then whipped back with a loud slam. They were trapped inside. Goldie, you have to get away from me! Spring frantically shook his head back and forth, trying to get rid of it. Golden leaned in further, his eyes darting around their surroundings. The tendrils of purple and black were spinning around Spring, slithering closer and closer until they snatched him. which commenced the purple mist to engulf Spring until all he could see was that familiar purple. "Get out of me!" His head fell to his chest, and his arms collapsed down by his side, his fur covering his eyes. The smoke had seemed to settle, that is, until the shades of black and purple turned to golden. It began to spin around him. Golden pulled his knees to his chest, his ears pressing tightly to his head. During this switch, let's call it, Cupcake had remained by Spring's side, too scared to even consider rolling to safety. His eyes had remained locked on Spring's form. The purple glow around him was like a beating heart, pulsing and pulsing into the thick mist. Spring began to twitch back, and slowly his ears stood straight up to the ceiling. His hand slowly slid down to Cupcake. He tapped his claws against Cupcake's side and then clutched him just a little too tight. "You know what? I don't think I like cupcakes very much." A deep chuckle erupted from Spring's chest. But that wasn't his voice. Cupcake was lifted up into the air, then tossed up and caught back again. The Cupcake shook his little head, then glared up at Spring. "This isn't Spring! What's going on? Who is doing this?" He was then spun around on Spring's index finger before he could help Golden with this at all. "Spring?" Goldie asked. He pulled his paws to his throat, his eyes darting from the mist to Spring's new form. Why did the smoke look so familiar? Why did everything look so familiar too? What's going on? He whimpered out. He was trembling in his spot. The smoke was getting all too close. No, what's happening? Well, Spring's voice was a gravelly purr. This wasn't Spring anymore. Golden felt his heart curl in his lungs. His paws shot to his mouth to stop himself from crying out. Spring's eyes had opened and were now staring right at Golden. "Do you?"
Oh, I gotta admit, and I'll talk about this more in the bloopers. That last panel, oh shit. Boy, what you doing? Boy, what you doing? Sir? Boy, okay, Marilyn, the fuck you doing? This is my roommate's cat. He's kind of an ass. Hello. Okay, we're moving back here. I don't know if y'all got a good angle of that. I'm probably just gonna do this video regardless, because that was really fucking cute. But, yeah. So, it turns out that my roommate's cat's crazy, for one thing. But, yeah, I'm gonna really miss him soon because her and her partner are moving in together and they're gonna do so good. I'm just like, I'm gonna miss that little ass. I really love him. Now, back to the comic. Honestly, guys, I gotta admit, this comic was so much fun to go back with and we are not done with it yet. In fact, is Golden gonna be alright? Because Springtrap has clearly lost control. And right now, it's Golden, a possessed Springtrap, and a little plastic cupcake trapped in his locked room that was lost for 30 years. Who's gonna save Goldie? Find out next week on the next episode of The Lost Golden Boys. I will see you all next time on The O Ship Show.